everyone, this is Anne-Marie here, and welcome to the cast interview of KinzVille P.D. Cue the fancy music, the panning camera, the intro clips, yada yada yada. Okay, anyways, I am here today with the main 6 characters and Jerry Lee for this interview. And of course, I, Anne-Marie, will be the one interviewing. And yeah, this is going to be fun, I guess. We would like to bring attention, though, that this is not a Q&A, so comments are not open for questions. And hey, who's doing the interview here? What, no, you're one of the cast members. Go sit down. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. Okay, I'm sitting. Yeah, you sit. I'm sitting. Yeah, sit. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, this is not Q&A, so we won't be accepting any questions, and he said that already. But, yeah, we're just going through and, kind of made up the questions ourselves, but let's go ahead and do it. So, for KinzVille P.D. Season 3, we had a whole new character introduced. Actually, several new characters. But the main one was Sierra. So, let's start off with her, shall we? She should be a little guest of honor. So, how did your character feel in the show? Did you like it? Do you think there could have been other things different about it? What went on with it? Sierra's character in the show, I felt it had a lot of potential. And I think it was expressed very clearly. She was very sharp-tongued, and she had a bit of a rivalry with Max. But I like the development that by the end of the series, the end of the season, she was a little more friendly with Max. She's grown a little bit more respect for him. He's grown more respect for her. It was all around good. I liked her character a lot. Not to mention, there were a bunch of details that just were never really explained. Like, how she hated to be called C. And actually, this was taken out of the script at the last minute, but in the final episode, that little scene where, Sierra is leaving, when Max says, he was supposed to say, "Goodbye, Sierra," and she was going to go and look at him and say, "You can call me C, And it was to show that, because C was a nickname her brother had given her, and since they were now on good terms, she'd be okay with a nickname again, but she never liked to be called C before due to it reminding her of her brother. Right, Jason. So, what exactly happened? This is never fully expressed in the series. Like, what happened with Jason? What made Sierra turn her back on him? Well, it was slightly explained in the last episode. It was purely there for exposition. But pretty much what happened was Jason, he went ahead and he joined the military. And he thought power was shown in cruelty and such. So he went ahead and he went overseas as he was commanded. And Sierra, she had a lot of resentment to that. So what happened between them was at first she didn't like it. But then when he finally came home, he boasted about all the stuff he did. And Sierra, she really hated everything. She did not like the idea of him being brutal people and acting all high in power, so she pretty much cut him off from her life, and that's when he realized he had made a mistake. And Sierra, because seeing her brother did all this, she went ahead to join the police force to help set things straight, I guess, and so she'd be the good and her brother would kind of be the bad. It was almost like that. Wow, that character sure seemed to have a lot of deep points, honestly. She did. That made her a lot of fun to play, honestly. There was so many points where, it was deep stuff and just, it wasn't explained. And, now I get to express it all in that cast interview. This is so cool. Alright, now let's go on to the second new character, who is kind of like the villain, I guess you would say. So, Luke, this is your first time ever playing a villain role, correct? Yeah, I've always been the good guy. Okay, so how did it feel to finally play the villain for once? Well, Luke's character in the show, he wasn't really too much of a villain, more so like a lost kid in a sense. He had a bad start and he didn't exactly know what to do about it. But being a villain, I gotta admit, it was a nice twist, and I really did enjoy playing the bad guy. I might do it again in the future. It was rather interesting. Okay, now let's go on to the last new character of the season, Jacob. Now, Jacob, your character had a lot of lore to it, but not really much development. Why do you think that was? I just never got that much screen time. It's not something bad or anything. It was mainly just production. I didn't have too much of a part. I was a main character, yes. I had a deep past, yes. But the thing was, I was kind of portrayed as a villain until at the end you figured out what I was actually doing. And that was the part where I think it was clear what was going on. The story I kind of all unraveled, and it was rather interesting. All right, and I know this is a question that is brought up pretty frequently. So, Toby, some people have asked, if Callie was the villain in the first 2 seasons, then why are you and her friends and leaders together on Signature Island? Well, there's one thing you have to keep in mind, and I think this requires some clarity because we kind of messed it up, is that this shows there are 2 different canons. There's the KinzVille P.D. canon and the Signature Island canon. In Signature Island, we tried to make KinzVille P.D. like a past thing where Max and Toby work together in a police office. But there really wasn't much more we could do with that. We realized later how much it was a mistake to try and mix them together. So we tried, with Signature Island, we tried to kind of push it to the side. It's that, yes, in Signature Island it is canon that Max and Toby work together in the police force. But they didn't solve the same cases as in KinzVille P.D. They didn't do the same things. They didn't stay there as long. It wasn't the same course of events. In Signature Island, the only real story there is that they work together. That's all that's really there. Well, that's nice to hear. So, anyways, let's go on over to Max. So, Max, what was your favorite part of KinzVille P.D.? Season 3 or the entire series? Let's just go with Season 3. Okay, my favorite part of Season 3, I think it was in the final episode where Max comes out and he tells Sarah that she was right in the end. He wasn't thinking straight. He was wrong, and pretty much he apologizes in his own little way. It just takes a couple of seconds. But you can tell there's a lot of meaning behind it, and that's the part I really think shined. It wasn't funny, but it was definitely my favorite part. Okay, and Maggie, we haven't really asked you a question yet. So, what was your favorite episode? Well, I am really a big fan of comedy, and this show has been a lot of comedy, although near the end it got super serious, which that's what I like about KinzVille P.D. It can be serious but funny at the same time. But my favorite episode was episode 4. I just felt the seriousness and the comedy was mixed together so perfectly, and I think it matched, and there was that. I think it was very nice, and just a great episode overall. Okay, and last person we haven't asked a question to yet. Let's go on over here. Jerry Lee. Now, you didn't make an appearance until the very last episode, and even then, it was a joke line. Did you feel that gave you justice, or did you mind it, or what's your thoughts on that? Well, to be honest, the joke was good in concept, but I feel it fell flat on its face, just in the moment, and I did have a bit of an appearance as Skeen, in I think episode 5, so there was that, and yeah, it was okay. The part could have been better or bigger, but I think it worked out in the end, I guess, and there's nothing I can really do about it. I mean, I'm not one of the writers. Yes, that Skeen part, I completely forgot about that. Did you like making that little 3-second part? Not really at all. 1, it was really cold, and 2, I have a horrible sense of balance, so trying to get me to line up on those skis and going down that little hill, I must have fell flat on my face half a dozen times, and it wasn't exactly the most pleasant experience, but it was kind of funny how Jerry Lee was like, he was gone the whole season. He was on a cruise, he was skiing, he was everywhere. And then he finally comes back with the final punchline. But the skiing, yeah, that was hard, and I'm just glad we got that over with. Alright, and Toby, You didn't have too much of a part in the season either, not like you did last time. So what were your thoughts on that?
To be completely honest, I think it really did kind of work out, because Sierra was supposed to be one of the more main focuses, and it was okay. You know, I didn't have as big of a part, but at the same time, it wasn't that big of a deal. I technically am the commanding officer, but it wasn't a big case this time. It really escalated, and I think that's what kept the series lore going. But the fact is, the captain just didn't want to bother with it. And he had somebody else working on it, and it's kind of like he just shoved that to the side. And plus, there was this new trainee coming along, and Sierra had to work, and I felt the character, it was okay that I was pushed to the side. The only thing I didn't like is that half the time you saw me, I was in my office, and that was a really uncomfortable chair.
Well, your desk kind of changed every single season, sometimes even mid-season.
Yeah, that was really weird, set design.
Speaking of set design, Jerry Lee, I heard you had quite a bit to do with that. So what was your favorite set, and how hard was it?
My favorite set, I think, was just the station. You know, Sierra's desks, Autumn's desk, and it just right there, it was nice. I thought it was pretty, the lighting was good, and I felt it was good. It wasn't that hard to set up. It was just like 2 desks, a chair, and some computers, along with a notebook, and some other little knickknacks, just to make it seem a little more like a desk. That's really all it was, so it wasn't hard. But I liked it. I liked it a lot.
What about the hardest set?
The hardest set was the one you saw in the final episode, and episode 8. The room with the boxes and all that, we had to find so many boxes. It took us forever to find all of them. And then we had to set them up, and to top it all off, the cats really like boxes. So we had to keep chasing them off, because they'd be playing and making noise, and we have to redo the scenes and such, and it was a lot of work. Not to mention, we filmed in the midday, so we had to cover the windows to keep it dark in there for the little bit of an effect, and it was difficult. It was a giant set too. But it was fun. I liked it.
Okay, let's go back to Luke over here. So what all went on behind the scenes in the production of KinzVille P.D, and why did it take a year longer than you thought it would?
Well, we had a goal. It wasn't really completed, and after we realized it wouldn't be, we kind of just tossed that out the window. Like, it's supposed to be winter throughout pretty much the entire season. It takes place in, like, over 2 weeks. But, it more so took place over a year, and you'd hear spring birds, and it was a bit of a mess. The writing, though, that went on behind it, the writing, I think, was the funnest part. The sets design and putting that together, that was fun, too. The filming was also not half bad, I'd say. But the editing is what took time. We would spend several hours editing half an episode. The clips took the longest, then we took like an hour to edit all the music, and we had to sync stuff up, and goodness. The final episode where we had to put credits in for all the other episodes was by far the hardest and the longest. We spent 3 hours just on those credits. It was mainly because we had to go back and rewatch every single episode and catch every single character that was ever in the background and then credit them. And I'm not even sure if White Wing was there. I just thought I recognized her foot. So, it was kind of like that. In the first couple episodes, we didn't even list what songs we had used. So we had to go through and identify each song and make sure it was right, and then add it all in. It was quite the hassle. But actually, for the ending, we were planning to have, for the credits, because we figured they'd be a lot longer, little clips that played on the sidelines, about a minute each. We had about 5 of them, so, Anne, what do you say we go ahead and show those right now, because we still have them?
Ah, yes, scenes that were never shown. Okay, let's go ahead and show those real quick. Oh, right there! Oh my goodness. We're beating you.
Why couldn't you stay out of town? No, here. Let me show you. First, you want to hold it. Yeah. Turn off the safety, which you already did.
Mm-hmm.
Align your shot.
Mm-hmm. And then, very carefully and steadily, yeah. That's it. Now you try. Okay, here. I'll help you. Okay? Remember, align your shot. Yeah. And make sure safety's off. Mm-hmm. Hold it steady. Yeah. And maybe look at the target instead of me. Right.
Why don't you sit down and talk with me?
You're the reason I'm in here in the first place. If it wasn't for you, then
you would have gone about your life the way you thought it would be. Just sit down. It's okay. We'll get out of this. Someday they'll release us. We can go about our lives.
But what if I don't have one?
Everyone has a future. It's just what you make it out to be. No one else shapes it for you. But it's okay to be sad now. Things change. And so will you. How would you like me to work with you?
Well,
I guess that's the spirit, boy.
Hurry up, Delilah, or the plane is gonna leave without you. I'm almost done packing. Just give me another minute. By the time we get through airport security, we won't have a minute. Come on, aren't you ready yet? Do you want your wife getting on the plane looking like a slob? If it means we make it. Come on, just finish packing. We can buy whatever we need there. Okay, I'm ready. You are not bringing that on the plane. Why not? Because they charge 50 Kins cash for anything that is over your carrier limit. What's your carrier limit? 20 pounds? That's not fair. Never mind what I weigh. Just know I weigh more than 20 pounds. I mean, for crying out loud, they can take some more stuff. Not like the plane's gonna be booked anyways. Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll pay the luggage fee just as long as we make the plane. Yay! And you can carry that to the car. What? But you're the man! It's your stuff. You know, I really see why those are cut out. They were, like, completely unplanned. I know, they were unplanned, just wrong. It's not even a word. They were completely winged, and that's why one of the reasons we just didn't bother. Plus, the credits were not like 10 minutes long like we thought they would be. Right. So, Maggie, who was your favorite character in the show, and why? To be honest, my favorite character was Jacob, or Lance, whichever you prefer. His real name is Jacob, and technically in the show he was called Jacob, but he just went by the name Lance. But he was my favorite character. He had a lot of deep stuff and lore, like you had said earlier. And I felt his character was definitely something that had a lot of potential. And some of it was expressed, but, you know, I felt he was a good character. And he really shone through at the end. Alright. Max, what was your favorite season of KinzVille PD?
Easily, by far, Season 3. Season 1, we really don't like to talk about, and Season 2 was better, but I just don't feel it had everything. Season 3, we added the music, it had good filming, good quality, better script writing. We overall improved our skills, and I guess that was a lot of what made it better. Plus, we also had more motivation. And we weren't rush, gotta get one out a week. It wasn't a series that was supposed to last 2.5 months. It was something that was supposed to go for a little longer. Well, how come it took 2 years to finally get into production? We more so just lacked the motivation to finish it until we started expanding on the idea. Believe it or not, the final episode was written out before the first was. So we knew how the series would end before we knew how it would start. And that's just how it went, and to be honest, all the little escalations in the middle were completely unplanned. We just kind of went with it as we went along, but it took 2 years, mainly because of lack of motivation, and then when we started thinking, hey, wait, we forgot about this series, and we started working on it a little bit. We got really excited and just started filming it. And I'm glad we did finally finish KinzVille P.D. and give it a proper ending.
Okay, this also leads me to another question. Toby, in every single season, I think we've used the kidnapping as a final plot line. Am I right?
I think. I don't really remember season 2 all that well. But yeah, it's always been the kidnapping. There's this and that and this and that. And half the time it's Max's kids. And we did reuse it for this one because, like we said, Max said, the ending was written out before the beginning, and we kind of had this cheesy little ending planned out 2 years ago, and we didn't start expanding on it until recently. So it was kind of an old idea, but I think for the series, especially this ending, it worked, and it had a sole purpose.
Would you have changed it?
Possibly, but with what, we don't really know. Like, how do you change a kidnap ending? You know, it had things about, it's how they found out Luke was completely this evil guy and what all went down, rather than just trying to trace down one person. It was like that.
That was very interesting. So, Jerry Lee, what was the motivation to start the series in the first place?
At the time, we were very well into comedy detective series, like Psych and Monk and those type of shows, and we started working out what it would be like to have one of our own, and it went into German Shepherds, their police dogs, and stuff like that. So that's really what started it, but here's the big part. We didn't do it until about a year later.
So the concept sat completely unexplored for a year?
Pretty much. And what really got us to start doing it again was that one person on KidsTube, they had, they're not even on KidsTube anymore, I don't think. They did a little police series, and we realized, hey, we had this. We completely forgot, but we had this. And there was that. But believe it or not, what actually really got the series started off was a scammer.
So a scammer actually did something good for once.
If you want to say KinzVille P.D. is good. Yeah, what happened was, there was somebody on YouTube who was scamming people for their webkins. And we wanted our signature German Shepherd to play Maggie. So what we did is, instead of sending webkins, we offered money. The person ended up sending our money back, but their YouTube account got closed, and everyone was making videos saying that they had scammed them, and we're like, dang it, we have to find our signature German Shepherd. But in the meantime, we'd already put this big thing into production, and we didn't just want to leave it, you know? So, yeah, we went ahead and did it anyways.
Yeah, and I have to ask, how did it feel in season 1 playing Maggie?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up, but it was a weird part, to say the least.
Yeah, seeing you in a necklace and hair clip going around as Max's wife, it was...
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore.
So, Sierra, what was your favorite scene or line to do in season 3? My favorite? Oh gosh, I'm really trying to think. I think it was the beginning of episode 5, where Sierra is just grumbling and grumbling about how Max broke her computer, and she's like, ah! And he starts making excuses, saying, yeah, she's tired, she's out late night partying, and she gets so mad. And I don't know, that part was a lot of fun. I had to restrain myself from laughing. Do you think you're gonna do more acting in the future?
Yeah, I really hope so. This is a blast.
Alright, and I think we wasted enough of your time, so let's get on to the final question. And I think this is only suitable if it's asked to Max. So, did you feel satisfied with the series ending?
Yes, I really did like the ending of the series. It felt complete. It didn't exactly leave any cliffhangers. The captain retiring and Max taking over, and now he's got Sierra along by his side along with Jerry Lee, and it's definitely a very satisfying ending and a bit of a feel-good ending too.
So I liked it a lot, and I felt the series, it definitely went out good. And I hope season 3 is definitely what it's remembered by. So, as long as that's there, KinzVille P.D. will always be my favorite part. I might have a pretty important part in Signature Island, but KinzVille P.D. was my favorite, and I will miss doing it a lot. Well, I guess. So, anyways, thank you all so much for watching this interview, and staying tuned for all of season 3, despite all of our delays. And, oh gosh, you're so not used to this. We thank you so much for watching our channel, and hope you keep up watching, because we really appreciate it. Hey! I'm doing the interview. It's over. True. Okay, you can say goodbye, along with everyone else. Okay. Once again, thank you all so much, because the series would be nothing without someone to watch it. So, you are very important. Okay. Let's say goodbye, and to the last KinzVille P.D. related video, I guess you would say. Yeah. It's had a good run. Anyways, thank you all very much. And we hope to see you in our next project. Thank you all very much. And we'll see you all in the next one. Later! Tater. Later, Tater?